Alright, kind of response video to morphine on this business stuff and what creates what and all that stuff. It could get interesting just in the sense, it could get incredibly boring to going through a bunch of stories about, well, this is how it happened when I did this and I did this and then this happened and you can illustrate something through that stuff, but yeah, I guess people would say, well, enough of that anecdotal experience crap. But yeah, something I observed just in the few opportunities I had at business was that you could go into a business, like say you have a certain skill, a certain thing, okay, and you're going to start a business wrapped around that skill or doing that thing. As soon as you establish it as a business, then all of a sudden it turns into something else. You're not doing the thing anymore. Now you're running a business, and those are very different things. And so the thing that you might be very good at might not have anything to do with what it is to run a business. Using Mariana's example, like she is a restaurant apparently. You could be a chef and you could be a stylish person, so you could know things about setting up a restaurant, setting up a business, creating an atmosphere, different ideas, blah, blah, blah. But the bottom line is, once you start running a restaurant, then it's about hiring and firing. It's about commoditizing everything. And you're not doing that creative crap anymore. Now you're doing this kind of brutal shit where you're, negotiating for what you can, get people to work for, and how many, what hours you can extract from them, and what performance you can extract from them. And that's when the whole equation gets really ugly. In one of Renetto's videos, the whatever one, the Irish attack guy one, where he compared me to whoever, William Wallace or something. Rather be compared to Thomas Paine or something, common sense, But anyway, regardless, he's telling me, what I should do is show him how you do a business right. And obviously you can't do that in the environment that exists. I can't set up a restaurant and pay people a fair wage and do all of that stuff, because I'm going to be out of business in 2 days. It's a non-starter because of the system we've created, because we've said everybody has to compete with this low. You can't do it fair. You have to do it as your competition is doing it. You have to be able to go as low as they will go. Or else you have to have such a productivity advantage by some angle that you can afford to be a nice guy and let people wear slippers to work and have a smoke and a cup of coffee and watch some YouTube videos. Maybe you can afford to do that, but you're going to have some sort of advantage in the market or something that's going to allow you to have that little bit of waste in the system. Especially, you can afford to do it sometimes if you have a bankroll, because it might pay off in 5 years, but it won't pay off in 4. And so unless you can last till 5 years, you're going to be out of luck. And a lot of internet businesses started that way, losing money for the first few years and, just waiting for the opportunity to pounce. And, that most people aren't going to be able to start a business that way, because they're not going to have the capital to do it that way. Or else they're going to have to basically sell their business before they even start their business, and that they'll have to give so much to the venture capitalists to fund them that there'll be nothing left for them. And so they'll be basically working for somebody else again, because they're going to be wormed out of their own business before they even get their business started. I think it's bullshit to say that there's, somehow the system requires these people. Well, first, it doesn't require any of the inheritors. They're usually fucktarded idiots. I've seen them. They don't know what the fuck they're doing. Even when they were raised in a business, they don't know what the hell, how the business works, because they never really did the work. They don't know how it really functions. And I think there's just huge wasted opportunity. There's better ways to decide and to direct resources to creating things that are functional. Who would argue that we should privatize public libraries? Does anybody think that would make any sense? Privatize the national parks? Some idiots have talked like that would make sense somehow, that we gain some huge advantage by doing that. It's stupid. You could even take an example like AT&T. Remember the old AT&T? All right, so it became this horrific monopoly. Well, why? What was so bad about the monopoly? What was so bad about it was this huge number of shareholders who demanded a profit off this monopoly, and that was the game, was how much profit can we extract. So what if the reform was to basically buy the shareholders out and create a non-profit business out of AT&T and have a CEO that would be installed through, congressional appointment or through direct election even. Where it would actually be on a ballot where we would elect a chief financial officer over technology or something. Say if there was 4 or 5 of these guys and they got elected and it was their responsibility to run the public service businesses. And if they did a shitty job, they get fired, at the next election. It just seems like there could be a mechanism to create a business. But just think of AT&T. So you'd have this huge company, huge infrastructure, and it could function quite adequately without all these people just demanding a profit. And then it's no longer a menace, because then it's no longer cheating us, to pay people who aren't really doing any work. So I think there's so many ways you can organize a business to be much more functional than this blueprint of greed. I don't think you need greed. And now it's gotten so much more complicated, the world. I mean, you don't invent things on your porch too much anymore. I mean, I could throw out a suggestion, like, okay, let's create a website that does video memorials. I mean, I think it's a great idea, like epitaphs and eulogies. Yeah, like a video eulogies. And it would be like this permanent record, and you have a website, and you'd have, you could do a video with nice images and music and a nice little eulogy about what a great person the guy was and what he did in his life. And, yeah, it's a great idea. All right, so how do you do it? I mean, first you got to have money, to support the business while you establish its presence, and then you got to advertise it, and so people know it exists. And then you got to have the mechanism to collect money from people, and so you got to have something to do the credit card thing and all that kind of crap. So you need all these modules that have to connect to build this business. It isn't just one person anymore. You can't really do it from your living room. Some people can. They have enough skills. They can do it all. But it's a very rare person that's in that position. And so it's all this networking thing. I mean, to really run a business, it has to have a network of people. And that's where it gets kind of complicated. Because are you just going to own the people that they're going to do the work for you? Or are they going to be part of the business? Are they going to each have a percentage? And then you get into the thing like you had, where you have a partner who's a fuck up and, game over. Because your partner is going to eat your business, and then you're out of luck. So it's a more complex world, and it really is about who has the capital. And I just think it'd be, and in a way, you were sort of saying it's sort of defeated if a person isn't allowed to be completely creative, the freedom and stuff, and not being owned. But it's not so much about being owned, it's just that as long as your creativity is for something valuable, something you respect. It's not an evil corporation, but it's a good organization of workers producing a product. Well, then you could feel good about giving your all for it, especially if there was some bonus incentive, like even the rest of the employees get to vote on who gets bonuses, or some other scenario that says, if you invent the transistor, you're going to get rewarded for that great intervention, because now you've just made us all wealthier. Some kind of scenario like that. And I'm just saying I think we can engineer much better ways to decide how money's going to get invested than this stupid, idiotic stock market greed incentive crap that just sort of gives people incentives to create shitty fake businesses that can make a lot of money in a short term, or do something to put some other business out of business and steal their stuff, or do like Microsoft and cherish a copyright possession and just abuse that copyright and the huge wealth that was built on top of it by other people, and just extort people for money. There's better models than this. I mean, shit. You're kind of a technical guy, so let's go into a little bit of this. I'm just curious if you want to argument this a little bit. I've been griping about the search industry since way in the beginning. All the web, back in the InfoSeek kind of days before, when even Disney was in the business. And it's always been run by, there's all this shysterism in it, all this crookery, all this gaming of the system. Originally we had meta tags on video pages, and the whole thing failed because we allowed the page designer to lie through their teeth about what the page was about, almost like tags on YouTube. I mean, they become useless because people just lie, because there was nothing to require people to be accountable for what kind of garbage they were essentially putting in the index. And Google's still running the same way, basically, because it refuses to add any intelligence to its algorithm. It just has this stupid piece of software, and so this stupid piece of software can't tell the difference between real and fake, and it's so easy to fool and to game. And so there's all these people who are making a living, and all they're doing is gaming the system. And you even have whole companies in China gaming the AdWorks, to create artificial clicks, to generate money. I mean, all these industries are just built around gaming the system. And then you have a whole nother industry created just to stop people from gaming the system. And the waste is preposterous. I mean, it's obscene. Just because there's no system of accountability built in any part of it. And so anyway, I was always thought that there should be a public, like open source software. Just think how, I mean, you got to concede too, if we invested real money, or if the IBM PC was based on an open source operating system, I mean, it breaks the brain a little bit to think about what computers could be capable of now. But anyway, so let's just go back to the search industry, because that's a favorite of mine. So we end up with this stupid system where we have this dumb hardware deciding what's valuable on the internet or what's relevant, and with the added feature of all this money corrupting it. Okay, this dollar a click bullshit that's tied to every click on the internet, this tax. And we could have just a simple system. I mean, like the old Yahoo system. You pay a fee to get into the index. You have to report what the hell your website is about, what the pages are about, and there's this check against the relevancy. And so we could take tools like keyword indexing and augment them with some sort of real metadata that's assured, that's guaranteed. And you could even give people an incentive to check for fraud, where little independent people, instead of creating a shyster business, they could create their own little business doing the fraud checking, and they could get paid a percentage of the people's, the money people pay into the industry, the search engine to get indexed. They could get a percentage of that money if they catch fraud. We could just create a system that could be so much more functional. It would be cheaper. It wouldn't have all this waste tied to it and all this nonsense. You can't even, try to find a local business on the internet using Google. All right? I mean, it's just stupid. I mean, nothing's indexed based on zip codes, and if they are, in the top 10 results on a town or a place, you're going to get 5 of those results are going to be somebody in California who's just created, fake web pages that have the name of every town in the United States in it. I mean, it's just such bullshit. And we could do so much better than that, because we are allowing capitalists to decide what's clever or smart internet engineering. This is the crap we get. And it's crap. I mean, it's inefficient crap. So anyway, that's enough of that. But is it, I think the bigger subject is the macro or whatever, the whole big picture thing, when it comes to looking at the economy, that's where I'm more interested. But the little nuances of even this system and how you could just augment little things and just little ways we do business are just so fucking corrupt and stupid. So anyway, that's enough of a video. Sorry, a little long again, but it's my tendency.